Weird experiences with other kids' families. This kid's friend's mom was incredibly religious, and in their house there was this cuckoo clock of Jesus that would go off every hour. Well, whenever he was hanging out at that house, every hour the mom would make the kids write notes thanking Jesus for everything they did that past hour. For example, every hour they would have to write something like, "Thank you, Jesus, for letting us play with Legos and eat cookies." She would then read all the kids' notes and correct them, like this. "This is really nice, Kyle, but you had milk as well. Do you want to make Jesus sad because you're not thankful for the milk? No, that's what I thought. I'm going to add milk for you, okay? Remember next time." Just crazy stuff like that every single hour. This kid said that their house also looked like a full-blown church, with 4-foot-tall crucifixes in every room and an altar. Maybe it's just me, but that seems a little excessive. This guy was 9 years old. He was taking a bath when he accidentally took a dump in the bathtub. He got out, got dressed, and tried to figure out what he was gonna do. "What am I supposed to do with you, poop?" Well, in the bathroom, there was this hole in the wall that had been there for as long as he could remember. So he scooped up the poop, and he threw it inside the hole in the wall. He then went on with his day and didn't tell anybody about it. Years and years pass and nobody ever knew what he did. Well, one day, about 15 years after the initial poop incident, he comes home from college to visit his parents. He goes to the bathroom and he notices that the hole in the wall was patched up. "Hey Dad, I see you finally fixed the hole in the wall." "Oh yeah, I did that last month. It was about time." Yeah. His parents then sold the house, and chances are that mummified poop that he threw in the bathroom wall is still there. This guy was in middle school. He had an obsession with fire. Well, one day he was home alone, so he grabbed some cardboard boxes and trash and went outside to the family's fire pit. Keep in mind, it was a pretty deep fire pit. He threw all the stuff in there, grabbed lighter fluid from his dad's grill, doused the garbage, and lit it on fire. And up the flames went. Completely satisfied, he sat back and watched the fire blaze, until suddenly, a strange-looking fireball jumped out of the fire pit and started running towards the woods. Turns out there was a raccoon in the fire pit, and when it caught on fire, it tried to make the grand escape. Well, when it got to the woods, it ended up burning a few trees down. But sadly, the raccoon didn't make it. The weirdest families ever. When this kid was in middle school, she was sleeping over at her friend's house. She wanted to take a shower, so her friend gave her a towel. She said the towel smelled kind of weird, but there was no other towels in the shower, so she used it. She later found out that this girl's family shares one towel to prevent having to use new ones all the time. She told her friend how weird it was, and she was shocked to find out that her family had their own towels every time they showered. Unfortunately, she couldn't get over this situation, and she never slept over at her friend's house ever again. So one kid had this friend that he would hang out with all the time. He would often hang out there during dinner time, but the thing was, he was never allowed to eat. "Alright boys, dinner time!" They would make him sit at the table with the family, but they would never serve him a plate. He never understood why. "Hey Mr. Stevens, do you think I can have some food tonight?" "No, Kyle, you know the rules." "Can I be excused then to go watch TV?" "I said you know the rules. You sit there until we're done." "I am so hungry." I'm sorry, man. "Honey, this lasagna is fantastic." "Oh my god, honey, thank you so much. I worked really hard on this." "You're missing out, Kyle." "This is delicious." This kid's family had this very weird rule. They would always keep 12 pre-poured glasses of water in the fridge at all times. His parents said they did this because it's quicker than having to pour tap water into a glass, put ice in there, and then wait for the water to get cold. So instead, they had the pre-poured cups of water already in the fridge. And whenever you would finish a glass of water, you would refill it and put it back in the fridge. It sounds pretty weird, but it also sounds very convenient. What do you guys think? Throughout this kid's entire childhood, his dad made him do this one specific thing. There was a very small and empty closet in their house, and once a month, every month, in the middle of the night, his dad would wake him up out of his deep sleep, bring him over to the closet, and made him stand in there for 2 minutes. He called it elevator practice. "Son, psst, Kyle, wake up. It's time. Come on." Okay, get on in there. And stop. That was your best one yet, buddy. All right, head to bed. Same time next month. When this kid was 9 years old, he was hanging out at his friend's house when he had to go to the bathroom. Number 2. A couple minutes later, his friend's dad went in the bathroom. He then came out and said this: "Alrighty, we have a problem. Kyle, did you take a poop in my bathroom?" Yeah, I did." "Now why in God's name would you do that?" "Because I had." "Do you know how disrespectful that is? In my toilet. If you had to take it, you should have gone to your own house." "But sir, I had to go to the bathroom." "I don't care. I'm calling your mom right now and I'm telling her you are never allowed here ever again." "Hi, Mrs. Stevens. This is Mr. Johnson. Your son is disgusting and I hate him."
What? I am so confused.
Black markets kids wearing in their schools, a follower submission. The person that shared this story said that when he was in school, there was this kid who had his own personal chef at his house. And every day, the chef would make this kid homemade croissants to take to lunch. Or, if you're fancy, croissant. Who knows? Anyway, apparently these are the most busing croissants ever. One day the chef made this kid 2 croissants. So this kid ate one and sold the other to his friend for $5. His friend took one bite of the croissant and his mind was blown. That kid then told the entire school that these croissants were amazing. So now this dude was having his chef make him 20 croissants to take to school every single day. And he was selling them for $5 each.
Business was absolutely frickin' booming.
Well, one day the principal found out and shut him down. But the students weren't happy about this. They complained and complained every single day. Finally, the principal said fine. They let this kid bring his chef into school to sell croissants during lunch. In total, together they made $20,000. That's absolutely insane. A creepy encounter with a stranger. A few years ago, this guy was visiting his girlfriend who had just moved to New York. They had a wonderful long weekend, but now it was coming to an end. They were riding the subway together, and it finally got to her stop. He was gonna stay on the subway and ride the train to the bus station so he can go home. After they say their goodbyes, his girlfriend stands up to exit through the doors. At the same time that she stood up, however, a very large man also stands up and walks directly behind her. This guy waves to his girlfriend as she gets off the train. The large man then looks at him, points to his girlfriend, and mouths the words, "I'm going to kill her." He freaked out. He got up to chase after his girlfriend, but the doors shut in his face. He had no cell service in the subway either. At the next stop, he sprinted through the subway doors, took the escalator up to the street. He then ran 14 blocks to his girlfriend's apartment and stayed with her that night. Luckily, nothing bad ever happened. This school is bogus. At one elementary school, a teacher was using the boys' bathroom when he saw something written on the stall wall. Oh my god, graffiti. Except it wasn't anything offensive or controversial. Somebody wrote "hi" on the stall door with a Sharpie. So pretty innocent. But the school took this very seriously. That was the only boys' bathroom in the entire school, and the principal locked it until they could find out who wrote "hi" on the bathroom door. No boys are allowed to use the bathroom until we find out who vandalized the stall. This lasted for 4 days, till one day something happened. "Miss? Yes, Billiards? I really have to use the bathroom." "You know you can't. I'm sorry, but I really have to go." "I'm sorry, unless you can tell me who vandalized the stall, I can't let you go." Well, this kid really did have to go, and he ended up peeing his pants right there in the classroom. Oh no. He told his mom what happened. She then called the principal and threatened to sue the school. The next day, that bathroom was unlocked once again. Uber driver's craziest experiences. One night, this Uber driver was driving around a cul-de-sac looking for a guy he was supposed to pick up. Well, he couldn't find him, so he decided to keep driving around the cul-de-sac until he found him. Well, as he was pulling around the cul-de-sac for the 3rd time, 2 guys emerged from the back of a house. "Hey!" "Yes?" "Hey, what did you say?" He said, "Hey, idiot." "Jeffrey, please. I'm sorry. What are you doing in my neighborhood?" I said, "What are you doing in my neighborhood?" At this point, the Uber driver was freaking out. This dude came out strapped. An Uber driver. I'm trying to pick somebody up, but I can't find him." "Okay, what's the address?" 69 Mellon Drive. "Oh, you're looking for Willard." "He lives right there at the blue house. Willard is a character. You're gonna love him." "Have a great night." Oh, hell no. He drove home, and he never accepted a ride in that part of town ever again. My favorite comebacks. Let's dive right in. Watch this. "Hey, Kyle." "Oh, hey, Stacy. What's up?" "I just wanted to tell you that I've always had a crush on you, and I'm wondering if you feel the same way." "Oh my gosh, really?" "No, I would never have a crush on you. You're the weirdest kid in school." "Hey, Stacy." "What?" "Nice tan." Orange is my favorite color. Oompa Loompa average. What did you just say to her, man? Not you again, you two-legged stool sample. Excuse me? Your family got robbed last week, right? Yeah, man, so what? Well, you're so ugly, I heard the robbers made you wear the mask.
Was this person in the right or the wrong in this situation? This Reddit user says that she's a very picky eater, but she doesn't have any dietary restrictions or allergies. She just hates most food. Well, one day her parents forced her to go out to eat with them at a hibachi restaurant. She said that her mom normally stops at a fast food place when they go out to dinner, so she can eat. But they were running late, so her mom suggested that she just try the hibachi chicken because she might like it, and that she can't keep letting her live off of nuggets and instant ramen, which makes perfect sense. Well, they got to the restaurant and she tries a bite of the chicken, and of course, she doesn't like it. So what she does is she orders Burger King to be delivered to the restaurant. She goes out, grabs it from the driver, brings it back inside, and eats it at the table. Apparently, the other tables at the restaurant were looking at them very strange. When they got home, her mom said that she embarrassed the entire family because she had Burger King delivered to the restaurant. She said that because her mom didn't stop at the fast food place for her, she had to do it. Was she in the right or the wrong in this situation?
This girl went to the weirdest sleepover ever. When this person was in middle school, she went to a sleepover at her friend's house. It started off pretty normal, but her friend's mom was obsessively taking pictures of them all night.
No, Carlos is the nice one. Kevin was the weird one. I think they're both weird. Girls, look over here.
Well, at one point, they were watching a movie and her friend had fallen asleep. Her friend's mom then comes over with her camera and records her daughter sleeping for 5 minutes. Well, that night, she was sleeping on the floor of her friend's room facing the wall, away from the door. She was having trouble going to bed, when at exactly 3 a.m., she heard the door creak open. Her friend's mom had snuck into the room at 3 in the morning to take pictures of them while they slept. Black Market's kids ran in their schools, a follower submission. When he was in middle school, he started his own lottery. He sold jars of Play-Doh for $3 each, and each Play-Doh was stuffed with money. It was either a $1 bill, a $5 bill, a $10 bill, or a $50 bill. The 50 was the jackpot. Business was very slow at first. He only made a few sales because nobody ever won the big prize. And that's because what they didn't know is he only put $1 bills in the Play-Doh jars. There was an occasional 5 or 10 in there, but never the 50. So he had an idea to get the word out. He put $50 of his own money into a Play-Doh jar. He then gave it to his friend and paid him to open the jar in front of a large group of people. Well, he did, and everyone saw it, and they were hyped. That's when they knew this business was legit. Business became booming. Everyone at the school was playing the lottery. In total, he made around $700, but the principal quickly found out and he was shut down. You gotta respect the hustle. This teacher is horrible. The guy that shared the story said that in preschool it was nap time. Everyone was laying down and sleeping, but he couldn't fall asleep, so he was just fiddling with his sleeping bag. The teacher then came over to him, crouched down, and, "Listen to me. You have to go to sleep right now, okay?" Miss, I can't fall asleep. When he told her he couldn't fall asleep, she got very mad. So she grabbed his face and said, "If you don't fall asleep right now, I'm calling your parents and you're going to the office." This preschool's a prison. It's this kid's birthday. Normally, his friend group always does something for him at school. Balloons, lunch table celebration, something every year. This year they plan a prank. Yo, when Steven comes in today, let's not say a word. We're gonna act like we forgot it's his birthday. Oh yeah. Then at the end of the day, we're gonna surprise him with this cupcake. Everyone agrees. They put the cupcake in this dude's locker, saving it for the end of the day. The birthday kid walks in smiling. He sees his friends. "Hey, what's up, guys?" "Oh, hey, what's up, Steven? Anyway, I'm gonna head to class." "Yeah, me too. All right, see you later, Steven." What? Then lunch comes around, he sits down, and nothing. Did anyone remember what day it is today? "Yeah, bro, it's Thursday." By last period, he looks crushed. He thinks everyone forgot it was his birthday. The bell rings, and everyone goes home. But here's the problem. The friend group forgot that they were playing a prank and ended up not surprising him, and therefore they forgot it was his birthday altogether. The giant cupcake they bought is still sitting in this dude's locker. Birthday kid goes home super upset. The next morning, the kid goes to his locker. Oh, crap. And that's when he realized he messed up. E minus? That's just a B in a tuxedo. Oh, what? So this kid turns in an essay. He gets it back a few days later. A minus. Solid, clean grade. He's feeling good until he gets in the car and shows his mom. Why is it not an A plus? I don't know, it's still an A. An A minus is just a fancy B. You're rewriting it. So that night, he rewrites the entire thing. Adds more quotes, changes the intro, tightens everything up. Next day, he turns it in again. The teacher's confused, but she said she'll take a look at it. 2 days later, the same result. Still an A minus. He shows his mom. You are doing it again. You're joking, right? Not until you get 100. Fix your tone, fix your grammar, and fix your mindset. He rewrites it again, turns it in. This is the third version. And the teacher pulls him aside. Hey, why do you keep resubmitting this? Your paper was excellent. I know, I'm just trying to survive, ma'am. She gives him the exact same grade, A minus again. He turns it into his mom. She just sighs and says, I give up. You must have done something wrong. And that's the day he learned. Sometimes it's not about the grade. It's about your mom's permanent disappointment. Poor kid. One of my videos changed this kid's life. I don't know about all that, but it actually inspired him, he said. So he watched one of my stories about one of these businesses that kids ran in their school. And that's when it hit him. You know what? I could run a hustle too. And he did. He started small with gum and stickers. That week he made $90. His next move, he sold Venom energy drinks. And in just 2 weeks, he made $200. And these wins just kept building his confidence. After that, he decided he was gonna step up a lot. He was gonna make his own website and sell his own streetwear clothing brand. He called it Hype District, and he actually has a website. If you want to check it out, just Google Hype District Canva, and you can see it for yourself. And my friends, this is what happens when you respect the hustle. Every neighborhood has that one house, yard where baseballs, frisbees, and dog toys go to die. The guy who lived there is creepy, angry, staring through the windows. Hey, go get the ball. Let's just go inside. Just like that, most kids accept the loss and they go buy a new one. But this one kid, he saw a gap in the market. What's up? He memorized the perimeter of this fenced yard. He knew the holes, the gaps, and he bought a very long pole. He has a 10-foot pole with a high grip claw at the end of it. And he started an extraction service. He pulls up with his bike and the pole like it's a jousting stick. All right, what is it? Baseball? Frisbee? It's my dog's favorite beaver toy. Okay, do you know where it is? No. That's fine. I'll use my drone. He had a drone with a camera so he could see above the yard to where the thing that needs to be extracted is, and then he would get to work. Okay, it's at this corner right here. I have the pole. Go through the gap. Is he watching? No. Got it. But he didn't do it for free. Depending on where in the yard it was, it could be $5, $10, or if the old man was right there watching, $20 because of the risk. But people usually paid. He didn't make bank, per se, but he made some good money, and he was a hero to a lot of neighborhood kids. One month he made $100 just by getting things that people were too scared to get themselves. I'd say it's a fair business because there's no way the old man would ever give those things back because he's just crazy like that. And so I say, gotta respect the hustle. Craziest things kids did in school. At one middle school, there was a student who would later be known as Cheeseburger Kid, and here is why. One day, right before lunch, he left the school. He walked around the school and found an area of the building that would be easy to climb. Perfect. He then scaled the building and got on the roof. Now, the cafeteria at this school had skylights, windows that looked to the sky. Once he was on the roof, he made his way over to one of the skylights above the cafeteria. He pulled a brick out of his backpack and then he jumped down. The cafeteria was selling cheeseburgers, and his plan was to steal all of them and escape. Hey, somebody stop that kid! He even punched a lunch lady. You stop right now! You stop right now! Well, finally, the police show up and grabbed him. He bit the police officer's hand, and then he went to juvie, never to be heard of again. Christmas break had just started, and this one kid in the neighborhood had a huge yard. His backyard was long, and at the end of it, there was this hill that was pretty big. Well, then it snowed a lot. So he grabbed the shovel and he went to work. He used the snow to make his hill even bigger, and then he carved out 3 different sledding tracks. Yes. Yes. This is gonna be awesome. These tracks had barriers, even jumps. When he was done, he strung Christmas lights around the yard, and he set up speakers blasting holiday music. And pretty soon, all the kids in the neighborhood noticed this, and they all wanted to have some fun. All right, I'm charging $5 to get in, but that includes a sled, Christmas music, and free hot chocolate. I'm in. And that night, the yard looked like a festival. A line of kids from the neighborhood, cash in hand, everybody in snowsuits, sleds sliding down the hill, and Christmas music blasting. Even the parents were there, all hanging out with each other. This is actually pretty cool. I can't believe the kids did this. I know, right? It was a great night, and eventually everybody went home. But that kid used the money he made that night to buy his entire family Christmas gifts, and that is beautiful. This kid ran a crazy summer hustle. His neighbor's name was Mr. Henderson. I'm Mr. Henderson. And he had just left for a 2-week camping trip, but he left his in-ground pool unattended. Most kids would sneak over for a quick dip, but this guy had a different idea. He turned his neighbor's backyard into a literal water park, and he charged every kid on the block $5 for a day pass. Step right up, water park day pass is $5. And people were paying. It was immediately a full-blown operation. There was a cooler full of sodas, there were folding chairs everywhere, and the front yard was a pile of bikes. And these 2 guys were by the gate, collecting $5 bills. On day 4, the party was at its peak. 15 kids in the backyard, cannonballs, Marco Polo. Some dude fired up Mr. Henderson's grill and was making hot dogs. Then Mr. Henderson shows up. What in God's name is going on back here? You see, obviously, one of the other neighbors called Mr. Henderson to let him know what was going on. So he came back from his trip super early. Backyard was dead silent. But what Mr. Henderson did, nobody expected. You, come here. Yes? Listen, I'm going back camping, okay? You can stay here as long as you clean up every day, and by the time I get back, it needs to be spotless. You understand? Oh, yeah. Stay out of my house, too, but have fun. And that was that. For the rest of the 2 weeks, those kids had the most fun they've ever had on a summer break. And yeah, that sounds awesome. Wait, forks cost money now? Yeah, and Isaiah's making a fortune off of it. So here's what happened. At this one school, there was a pretty small school. In their lunchroom, they used real forks. Well, these forks started to go missing. Like every day, kids are accidentally tossing them out, leaving them on the ground, or straight up taking them home. Finally, the lunch lady snaps. That's it, new rule. Forks cost 50 cents. If you want one, you pay, and you better return it. Basically, it's a rental fee for your fork. Well, this kid named Isaiah, he sees an opportunity. The next day, he pulls up to lunch with a backpack full of Costco plastic forks. 1 fork, 25 cents. 2 for 40 cents. Tell your friends. It spreads fast. He's got bundles, different colors, custom sizes, some with graphics on them that he calls limited edition. Yo, let me get 2 SpongeBob forks for my ravioli. Say less. The cafeteria staff notices this, and the principal steps in. Are you running an unauthorized utensil ring in my cafeteria? Well, sir, I'm just providing students with a better utensil option. I'm making pretty good money, too. He gets written up, they confiscate his inventory, and by Friday, the cafeteria stops charging for forks. But that never actually fixed the problem, because kids were still taking these forks home or accidentally throwing them away. Hey, what can you do? What can you do? I'm not gonna say it again. One more sound out of you, Jason, and you're out of here. So one day in class, 2 kids are in the back of the classroom and they're whispering to each other. I told my cat that she's so funny when she does that. Dude, I have so much milk left over from last night. Suddenly, the teacher slams her hand on the desk and says, Jason, that's enough. The whole class freezes. But here's the thing, Jason wasn't even talking. He's sitting there mid-pencil stroke like, huh? I'm not gonna say it again. One more sound out of you, Jason, and you're out of here. Now, a bunch of people saw who was actually whispering, but nobody said a word. Well, Jason takes the L in silence. The next day, there are some class presentations. Well, Jason walks up, he connects his slideshow, and slide 1 appears on the projector. The danger of classroom injustice. Oh boy, here we go. Then Jason starts reading from a flashcard. Let the record show, yesterday I was falsely accused of whispering. I was not whispering. I was taking notes. I was the victim. Slide 2, confirmed witnesses. He lists 3 classmates, first and last names, alphabetical order. Next slide, actual culprits. The final slide. And all I ask is for truth to matter again.
Boom, presentation done. He gets a standing ovation. Even the teacher's smiling and laughing, and he gets a B+ on that assignment. The teacher then apologizes for accusing him of something he did not do. Respect. Weirdest breakups ever. In high school, this girl wanted to break up with her boyfriend, but she didn't know how to do it. So one day, she was hanging out with her friend. I just don't know what to say. I don't really want to talk to him in person. It's gonna be so awkward. I have an amazing idea. Hold on, pose for me, pose. Perfect. Now we're gonna post this to your Instagram. Okay. And as the caption, put, "I love being single." He'll definitely get the hint. Oh my god, you're a freaking genius. And it's posted. But when her boyfriend saw it, he did not get the hint. Oh my god, he texted me. I love Pringles? Who even says that? Just text him something back. You have to end this now. Okay, I sent it. Yeah, bro, no, it was definitely autocorrect. She meant to say, "I love Pringles." It's happens all the time. Hold on, she just texted me. When this kid was in 4th grade, his glasses broke. Oh man. But it didn't really matter, because in most of his classes, he sat in the front row, so he could still see. Well, after a few days of going to class without his glasses, one of his teachers said, "Kyle, I see you still don't have your glasses. Are they still broken?" "Yeah, but it's fine. I can still see the board." The thing with this teacher, though, was that she would always write assignments on the board for students to work on during class. She would never explain the assignments. Students would just read the board and then do their work. But anyway, she said, "Kyle, it's been 4 days now. Your parents should have gotten you new glasses at this point. You're sitting in the back of the class." Okay. Alright, so this is what needs to be done before the end of class, okay? Get to work. Oh, I can't see it. What the heck? Sit down, Kyle. Hey, Stacy, can you tell me what the board says? Yeah, it says, Stacy, don't you dare tell him what it says. I'm teaching him a frickin' lesson. I hate my life. Secrets people are taking to the grave. When this guy was a kid, he went to the Family Dollar with his mom and a few of his cousins. They went off to do their own thing, and he was in the toy aisle. He started flinging marbles across the floor. He stopped, and then 2 minutes later, he hears a crash, and a woman scream, "Somebody help this man!" He went to go check it out. When he got to where the commotion was coming from, he saw a group of people standing around a man who had fallen off of a ladder. He was seizing, and there was blood everywhere. His mom then whisked him and his cousins away, and they left the store. Well, the next time they were at the Family Dollar, they asked one of the cashiers what had happened.
Hi, yeah, so my son and I were in here a few weeks ago. What happened to that man who fell down? When he fell off the ladder, he hit his head, and sadly he passed away. Oh my god, how did he fall? We found out later that he had accidentally set his ladder on top of a marble, made the whole thing a bit wobbly, and he fell off. It's crazy. If that marble wasn't there, he would be alive today.
People who were legends in their high school. The wrestling team at this one high school would hang out in the bathrooms every day during lunch. "Hey man, great practice today." "Hey, you too, bro. You wrecked Johnny in that last match." But every day there was also another kid that would hang out in the bathroom during lunch. And all he did in the bathroom was eat his lunch in there. The wrestling team started to befriend this kid. The team liked him. Well, one day, the wrestling team was at the movies. They were seeing Superbad. When the character McLovin first appeared on the scene, this is what happened. "Yo, bro. McLovin looks just like Kyle from the bathroom." And the next day, when the team saw this kid in the hallway, "Hey, what's up, McLovin? I'll see you during lunch." "McLovin, I like it." The nickname McLovin caught on. "Hey, McLovin, what up, man?"
Hey, what's good, McLovin?
"Hi, McLovin." And when this kid was a senior, they were announcing the prom king. And this year's prom king is McLovin. Black markets kids ran in their schools, a follower submission. When this kid was in 5th grade, he started a business, a snack selling business. He bought a bunch of stuff from Costco. Candies, chips, juice, anything that was popular at that moment. And the second he started selling at school, business was immediately booming. He was selling out every single day. Well, one day he came to school ready to get his business on to make some money. But
but he realized business was abnormally slow. And that's when he found out that there was another group of kids who also started the same exact business. Well, he wasn't gonna let this fly. So he made himself some business cards and started having bundles with deals that kids could purchase. He hired 4 employees, one in his grade, one in 6th grade, one in 7th grade, and one in 8th grade, and they were paid every single Friday. They had 5 lockers, one for each person in each grade, and each one of those lockers were stuffed to the brim with candy and snacks. In total, he made $7,200. This teacher is bogus. When this kid was in middle school, he had just finished his work for the day and went up to go to the bathroom. Okay. That's when his teacher said, "Excuse me, sit back down. Where are you going?" I don't care. Sit back down. If you want to go somewhere, raise your hand." So the kid sits back down and raises his hand for what feels like a very long time. She was ignoring him. She even began to read a book until finally, "Oh, Kyle, I'm sorry. Yes, what? Yeah, can I go to the bathroom, please?" "Oh, yeah, of course. You don't need to ask me. You can just get up and go. You're a big boy." Classic. Weird things that happened at a friend's house. When this kid was 10 years old, he went to his friend's house for the first time. They were having fun. Wake up, wake up. Dude, your hamster's hilarious, right? Isn't he the best? Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Well, he went to the bathroom and did his thing. As he was washing his hands, he noticed 4 towels that were hanging up. But the thing was, each of those 4 towels had brown marks all over them. So he asked his friend about it. "Hey man, what's with those like weird dirty towels hanging up in your bathroom?" "Oh yeah, those are poop towels." "Poop towels? Poop towels. What's a poop towel?" "Well, my family doesn't buy toilet paper for the environment, so we each have our own poop towel that we use and we hang it up after each use." He went home and told his mom about it. "And then they just hang it up. They just hang it back up, Mom." It was so gross. You're never allowed to see Joey again. Nasty. This teacher is the worst. When he was 9 years old, he had a teacher that hated him. He was kind of a chubby kid, and one time he didn't do his homework and she flipped out. "This is your workbook. You're supposed to do homework in your workbook. I don't see your homework." She was flipping through it so hard she ripped a bunch of pages. But she wasn't done. She then, in front of the entire class, started screaming at him even more. "You know what, Kyle? You're probably too busy stuffing your face with sandwiches and Twinkies that you didn't have time to do your homework. You're so fat." She then made him go to the back corner of the classroom and stand there with his hands straight up in the air until class was over. "Hands up, Kyle." He went home and told his parents what happened. The next day, they came into school with him. They went to her room and asked why she did that. To which she replied, "I'm sorry, I don't recall that happening. I think your kid might be making it up. I'm sorry." The dumbest reasons people got in trouble at work. This guy was chilling at home when he got a call from a manager of a company. "Hello?" "Oh, hello, Greg." He answers, "Well, Greg, you didn't show up for work today, and honestly, I have had enough of your bullcrap. You are a disgrace to the Comcast company. You're ignorant, you're selfish, you're incredibly selfish, you waste all of our time. Your mother would be so disappointed in you, Greg. You can be quiet. What do you have to say for yourself?" The call went on for a while, but the thing was, my name isn't Greg, and I definitely don't work at Comcast. I actually just started at Dairy Queen last week, so... But good luck to Greg, huh? Sounds like he's in big trouble. Okay, bye. God darn it. Can somebody give me Greg's phone number? I don't think I have it, but why don't you just ask him what his number is? He's sitting at his desk. Wait, he's here today? Yeah, it's his birthday today. He brought everyone donuts. I had like 3. Secret rooms with scary backstories. A man bought a new house. He discovered a hidden door on the floor of his pantry. He went down there and found this room with a desk, a working light, and an ashtray. Here's a similar story. A group of college students lived in a house on campus. They were convinced the house was haunted because cabinet doors were left open and they were hearing strange noises at night. And behind a secret door in the basement, they found this room. There was a double bed, student textbooks, and photographs, all belonging to somebody named Jeremy.
They changed the locks in the house and left Jeremy a note outside saying he's no longer able to live there. Now this last one's very creepy, but before I show you it, I found this app that shows you everybody that goes and lurks on your social media profiles. There's even a section that tells you who they think your crush is. If you want to find out who your crush is, go right here. And this one. One day they found this room and it looked like somebody had been living in there. There was bed sheets, blankets, freshly opened snacks, and every single item the family had go missing.
Market's kids ran in their schools. Followers sent me this story about her brother. When he was in 7th grade, him and his friends were working a garage sale for one of the friends' grandpas. When the day was done, the grandpa said they can take anything they wanted from the garage sale to keep. Well, this dude picked a George Foreman grill. He decided he was going to start taking it to school. He would then use that grill every day to toast his sandwiches at lunch. And then he started doing it for his friends. And after a few weeks, everybody wanted their sandwiches toasted. So he had an idea. He would charge people $1 to toast their normal sandwich. So kids would come to lunch with their ordinary cold sandwich, give him $1, and he would toast it. Business was booming. Until one day his dad got a call from the school office saying he needs to come in. When he got there, he saw his son sitting in a chair with the grill on his lap. The principal said he could not be doing this anymore and the George Foreman grill had to stay at home. Well, his dad challenged them. He asked them, where in the handbook does it say students can't grill sandwiches at lunch using a George Foreman grill? And they couldn't find it. So he was allowed to keep the grill at school. He made about $1,000. Until the next year, in the handbook, it said students can't toast sandwiches in a George Foreman grill. This kid's a legend.
Restaurant sign fails. This Arby's sign makes no sense at all. Somebody really messed up on this. This Dunkin' Donuts sign says, try the new P Donuts. I'm gonna have to pass. Taco Bell. Try. What? This KFC sign just says, limited time. Okay. Burger King. Closed, she gone. I like that. I love that this KFC sign just says bucket. I mean, they're not lying. They do have buckets. This car wash sign says, we are now credit cards. Alright. Walgreens, get your Shongles shit today. Before I get to the last one, this app literally pays you to walk. You do it already, so why not get paid for it? If you want it, I'll have it right here. And my favorite, this Wendy's sign that just wants to say, hey, hi Wendy's. Black Market's kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. When this kid was in middle school, he bought a shoe customization kit, and he was skilled enough to design stuff like this on people's shoes. Well, he decided to start a business. He charged kids $10 for him to customize their shoes. But more and more people started getting interested in this, and business started booming. So he raised his price to $50 per customization. Things were going great. He was running this business for 3 months, until one day the vice principal walked in on him in the bathroom designing some shoes. The vice principal saw him and told him that he had to ask the principal if he could continue. Well, the principal said, yeah, for sure, keep going. And he did. He continued this business for 7 months. But then one day, a school board official was visiting the school and the school board official caught him in the bathroom as well. He was then shut down completely. In total, he made about $11,000. That's insane. Robert Pattinson had a stalker in 2008, and this is how he dealt with it. In 2008, while filming a movie in Spain, Robert Pattinson said that he had a stalker. She would stand outside his apartment all day, every day for weeks. Robert eventually got so bored and lonely that one day he confronted her and told her that he would have dinner with her. This crazed fan was super excited, but unfortunately for the fan, this wasn't the fairy tale first date with the celebrity that she had expected. Basically, for the entire dinner, Robert Pattinson complained about everything in his life, and he wouldn't shut up. The dinner ended, she went home, and she never came back to stalk him ever again. Weirdest teachers of all time, or in this case,
A baseball coach.
this is Justin Hill.
A longtime varsity baseball coach at Currituck High School.
He also went to that same high school and graduated in 1996. Well, apparently one day, 9 of his players missed practice. I think it was senior skip day or something. And he got very, very mad. So at the next practice, when those 9 students were there, he forced each of those students to spit on his bald head. The players said it was incredibly weird and gross, and Justin said he did it to make them ashamed of missing practice. I don't even know how that makes sense, but some parents found out what he did, and he was only suspended for 1 game. I'm not sure about you, but there's something super sus about that guy. Black Market's kids ran in their schools. At this kid's school, there was a girl that would carry around a box of stationery every day. Her business was that she would write forged letters from parents. She had all different papers, pens, and pencils of every kind. And if kids wanted to leave school early, they would go to her, and she would write a note from their parents. Well, these notes were incredibly convincing. She used different styles of handwriting, different styles of punctuation. She could even write notes in different languages. She made absolute bank. The teachers never caught on, but this kid grew up incredibly educated, and today she's incredibly successful. Black markets kids ran in their schools a follower submission. When this kid was a junior in high school, finals were coming up, and he got pretty solid grades. Well, one day, two of his friends asked if they could borrow his notes and study guides for the hardest classes, and he gave it to them, and they were incredibly helpful. Well, word spread about how helpful they were, and by the time finals came around again, everybody was wanting his notes and study guides. So him and two other friends of his who were also very smart decided to pool all their notes and study guides together. They scanned them into a Google Drive folder and would sell access to them based on how hard the class was. The prices were $5 for basic classes, $7 for honors classes, and $10 for AP classes. Business was booming. He checked his old spreadsheet for me, and in total, they made $627. So they each walked away with $209. His math teacher heard about it after the school year was over, and he said, "Pretty sweet gig with the study guides, huh?" Then they agreed that it never happened. Craziest things teachers caught their students with. This teacher said that one day when he was trying to give a student a detention, the student pulled out an Uno switch card and genuinely thought that would get him out of it. That's not how it works, my friend. This next teacher said that one day he confiscated a makeshift taser from one of his students. The kid had rigged it by using multiple 9-volt batteries, wire, tape, and a button that was taken off from a toy. And the last one. At this one elementary school, a student came in with a bag. The teacher was kind of concerned, so she looked inside the bag. And turns out there was a live baby in there. Apparently, this kid wanted to show her friends her brand new little brother. My question is, how'd the parents let this happen? Sus. Black markets kids ran in their schools. The cafeteria at this kid's school was absolutely terrible, and he thought that his peers deserved better. So one day he went home, told his mom what he was thinking, and she had an idea. She started making tons of Cuban sandwiches every day. She would give them to her son, he would take them to school and sell them during lunch. And apparently these sandwiches were amazing. Kids would stop buying cafeteria food. Instead, they would line up in front of his lunch table and buy the Cuban sandwiches. He became a hero around the school, and he made a couple $100. He split everything he earned with his mom. Craziest things kids did in school. A follower submission. When he was in high school, he took driver's ed with this super old teacher. Well, one day, him and two other students were doing behind the wheel, when all of a sudden, they noticed that the teacher had fallen asleep in the passenger seat. Well, the kid that was driving decided to head to a different city to drive around and explore while the teacher was sleeping. The second student was so down, but student number 3 was completely against this. After driving for a while, they realized they had gotten severely lost. So student 3 was like, "Let me drive. I'll get us back home." Everyone was too afraid to wake the teacher up, because at that point, they would have gotten in trouble. Once student 3 got behind the wheel and started driving, the other two woke the teacher up and said that student 3 wanted to drive to a different city, and he kept driving even though they asked him to stop, which is obviously a complete lie. But the teacher got super mad and suspended student number 3. That's nuts. Dumbest things people got in trouble for at school. One day when he was in preschool, it was nap time, and he was laying awake in his cot playing with his sleeping bag because he had trouble falling asleep, but he wasn't disrupting anybody. Well, his teacher came over to him, crouched down, and whisper yelled at him, telling him that he needed to go to sleep. When he said he couldn't, she dug her nails under his chin and told him that if he didn't fall asleep, he would have to go to the principal's office. He got in trouble for not being able to fall asleep. That ain't right. People's personal unsolved mysteries. One morning at 4:40 a.m., this man received a call from a blocked phone number. And when he answered, all he heard was the person on the other end repeating, "Car won't start. Car won't start," over and over again. Well, he hung up, and since he works at 5:30 in the morning, he decided to stay awake. He didn't think much of it until he was leaving for work, got in his truck, and you guessed it, the car wouldn't start. It could have been a prank, or somebody he knew messing with him, but he says it still gives him a weird feeling. To this day, nobody knows who made that call. Craziest things found in fast food. In 2008, a man from New York went to Subway and ordered himself a footlong. As he was biting into the sandwich, he felt something thin, hard, and sharp between his teeth. When he got a closer look, he saw a fairly large serrated knife that had been baked into the bread. He was absolutely pissed. He could have really messed up his mouth. He let the store know and hired a lawyer, and he accepted a settlement of $20,000. Dumbest things people got in trouble for at school. When this kid was in junior high, they had circle-shaped hallways where all the lockers were. Well, the school administration was pretty whack, and they decided that students would only be allowed to walk clockwise around the hallway. Well, this kid's homeroom class was right next to his locker, but the problem was his class was right here and his locker was about 6 feet away counterclockwise. He never thought it was a big deal, so every day after homeroom, he would walk counterclockwise to his locker to get get his stuff for his next class. Well, the teachers and school staff caught on, and he was eventually suspended for disrespecting the one-way rule too many times. What? These interesting facts blew my mind. A moose can dive nearly 20 feet underwater in search of food. It took humans more time to go from bronze swords to steel swords than it took them to go from steel swords to nuclear bombs. That's crazy. Chainsaws were actually invented to be used in childbirth, and originally they were hand cranked. Thank God for technology. Rosa Parks died in 2005. The movie Shrek came out in 2001. So there's a possibility that Rosa Parks saw Shrek. I really hope she did. Shrek is a masterpiece. Businesses you could run at your school. This one's pretty basic, but it's a good way to get started. Sell gum. Go to Amazon and you can buy a chewing gum assortment of 40 packs for about $15 right now. There are 5 sticks of gum in each pack. So in total, this box has 200 sticks of gum. Now you can sell them for however much you want. If you sold each piece of gum for $1, you'd make $200 minus the $15 you used to buy it, and that's $185 profit. Now $1 might be too expensive. You could sell them for 50 cents each, and that would still get you $85 profit. It's not a crazy amount of money, but business is business, and you never know what'll happen. This island is called the Island of the Colorblind. This is Pingalap Atoll, and in 1775, a typhoon killed most of the population, leaving only 20 survivors. This caused what is called a population bottleneck, and within those 20 survivors, one of them was colorblind, which is why 30% of the island's population today carries the colorblindness gene, and 10% of the island's population is colorblind. That's crazy. Terrible things people did as kids. When this guy was in middle school, he had an obsession with fire. But one day he was home alone, so he grabbed some cardboard boxes and trash and went outside to the family's fire pit. Keep in mind it was a pretty deep fire pit. He threw all the stuff in there, grabbed lighter fluid from his dad's grill, doused the garbage, and lit it on fire. And up the flames went. Completely satisfied, he sat back and watched the fire blaze, until suddenly, a strange-looking fireball jumped out of the fire pit and started running towards the woods. Turns out there was a raccoon in the fire pit, and when it caught on fire, it tried to make the grand escape. Well, when it got to the woods, it ended up burning a few trees down. But sadly, the raccoon didn't make it. This man died while burying the woman he killed. One day, police deputies in South Carolina were sent to a home because of a report of an unresponsive man lying in his yard. When they arrived, they had found the body of 60-year-old Joseph Anthony McKinnon, who had lived at the residence. As their investigation continued, deputies found a second body lying in a freshly dug pit. The body was confirmed to be 65-year-old Patricia Ruth Dent, Joseph's roommate. Ruth's autopsy showed that she had died by strangulation, and the police believed that he attacked her while in their house, killed her, bound her and wrapped her in trash bags, and then put her in a pit that he had dug earlier. Joseph was in the process of filling the pit he put the body in when he suffered a cardiac arrest, which caused his death. This kid was suspended for selling candy at a healthy school. This is Tommy Rose, and at the time of this incident, he was 12 years old. He attended a healthy eating school, which means the school only serves food that's very healthy. Tommy said he was watching The Apprentice one day when he had the idea to start selling candy at school. He bought all the sweets and fizzy drinks in bulk from discount stores. He would then bring them to school and sell them at a profit during lunch and break times. Business started booming incredibly fast. He was making up to 200 pounds a day. But quickly the school found out, and they were not happy. But they didn't suspend him for selling things, they suspended him because he broke the school's strict healthy eating policy. Tommy was grounded by his parents, but his parents think the school went a little too far in suspending him. What do you guys think? The kid was just trying to make some money. Interesting facts about lucid dreams. A lucid dream is a dream in which you know you are dreaming and you can do whatever you want in that dream. Lucid dreaming can be a great rehearsal space to practice real-life activities like public speaking or standing up to a boss or a teacher. According to a few studies, taking vitamin B6 before bed could help you remember your dreams and could even put you in a lucid dreaming state. Some people are so good at lucid dreaming, they claim their dreams feel more real than actual reality. There's a phenomenon called mutual dreaming, where people tell each other where they should meet up in their dream before they go to sleep. And then when they meet there in the lucid dream, they tell each other secrets. And when they wake up, they see if the other person knows the secret. This has actually worked a few times. Before I get to the last one, I found this app that tells you what your dreams mean and could even help you have a lucid dream. If you want it, I'll have it right here. Some people are so good at lucid dreaming that they can create entire cities and people that they can revisit every single time they have a lucid dream. That's crazy. This kid was making $1,200 every week from selling candy. This is Nathan John Baptiste, who has now been dubbed the Wolf of Walthamstow. He started his business by selling a few chocolate bars out of the boys' bathroom, but things started to pick up. and business was definitely booming. He would post his daily menu on his Snapchat, he would take orders, and he would make the exchanges at lunchtime every day. He sold his products at a deep discount from store prices, so everybody was going to him. He was loved by his customers, and he started making upwards of $300 every single day. Fancy suits and lavish dinners became a part of his daily life. If he had continued his operations, he would have brought in $56,000 by the end of the school year. But the school staff found out about his endeavors, which at the time was running in 3 different schools with 11 employees, and he was shut down. He was discouraged at first, but his millionaire mindset remains. He is now a stockbroker with huge plans for the future. The time Microsoft severely embarrassed themselves. 12 years ago, Microsoft was about to launch its Windows 7 phone, and everyone at Microsoft thought it would be much more popular and better than the iPhone. So what did they do? Shortly before they actually released the phone, Microsoft held a mock funeral. It was basically a parade that included 2 hearses, one representing the death of the iPhone, and the second one representing the death of the BlackBerry. Obviously, Microsoft was 100% wrong. I don't know anyone who's ever had one of these phones. And despite their confidence, this phone has been named Microsoft's greatest failure. People who were legends in their high school. When this kid was a freshman in high school, he was always bullied by the wrestling and the boxing club students, and he was beat up really badly that year. So during the summer, he started working out every day, and he took Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu lessons. By the end of that summer, he was pretty buff and he knew how to fight. His parents wanted to go on vacation before the school year started, so they went to Dubai. They were in Dubai for about a month, and while he was there, he still worked out every day and he trained in martial arts. Shortly after that, he was back in school, and a few days in, he saw the bullies. They didn't know what he had been up to that summer, and one day during lunch, they started to pick a fight with him. All his friends were telling him to run, but he didn't run. Instead, he used his knowledge in martial arts, and he absolutely won that fight against those 3 bullies. Everyone was amazed. The entire lunchroom began chanting his name. He felt like a star. But a teacher saw him and he was suspended. The bullies never messed with him again, and he said it was totally worth it. Black markets kids ran in their schools. At one high school, the seniors had a business in which they scammed the rest of the students. Every day, they would sell elevator passes, even though the school was only 1 story. And they would also sell pool passes, even though the school did not have a pool. The crazy part is, people actually bought these passes, and the seniors were making a decent amount of money. The school administration knew about this, but they never shut it down. They said, if you're stupid enough to not know that our school's only 1 story, you deserve to get swindled. Well, this finally came to an end when more and more parents started to complain and demanded that this be stopped. Black markets kids ran in their schools, a follower submission. Every day, this kid wakes up at 5:30 in the morning and goes to Dunkin' Donuts, where he buys 2 or 3 dozen donuts every morning. He brings these donuts to school, and during lunch, when him and his friends are sitting at their table, masses of people will come running to him, asking for a donut. And he sells kids donuts. $5 for one, which is absurd. But for whatever reason, these kids are spending $5 a donut every single day. And he always sells out. No one's ever snitched on him, and this business is still running. He's made a couple $100s. Black markets kids ran in their schools. Another follower submission. When she was in 7th grade, her dad was the janitor of the middle school. And the school's policy was if he had to clean up a really bad mess in the bathroom, he would get paid double for that day. Well, his daughter had a brilliant idea. You see, her grandpa had some digestive issues. So one day she went to her grandparents' house and stole tons of boxes of chocolate laxatives. She would then take these chocolates to school and sell them to kids before lunch every day for 50 cents a chocolate bar. She was selling out every single day, and everyone just thought that they were regular chocolate bars. Let's just say after she started this business, her dad's paychecks got a whole lot bigger. This dog went missing after a car accident, and you won't believe where she was found. This is Tilly, and one day she was in the back of a car when a collision happened and she was thrown out. Her humans exited the car uninjured, but Tilly was nowhere to be seen. A few days passed and her owners were obviously worried. But soon after that, she was found. Apparently, Tilly had made her way to a farm with a bunch of sheep on it. And the people that found her said she was herding sheep as they approached her. Apparently, she was pretty good at it too. Way to go, Tilly. Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. This kid's got a pretty strong stomach. So in middle school, he had a business idea. Every day at lunch, he would have a milk from the cafeteria in front of him. And people could add anything they want to the milk and he would drink it. It was $1 to add a basic item to the milk, like raisins. But the crazier the stuff got, the more expensive it got. So for example, if someone wanted to put Vegemite in the milk, it would cost $5. This kid was drinking nasty milk combinations every single day. And business was booming. Kids loved watching him drink this stuff. He did this a couple times a week throughout the year. And in total, he made $350. Nice. Weird things kids did in school. One day in class, this teacher noticed a stuffed cat sitting right next to a student's desk. Not a fluffy stuffed animal cat. He said it looked like a taxidermy cat. He thought there's no way, so he asked his student about it. His student said that his cat had died earlier that week. But it's okay, because now he could always have Buttercup close. That's creepy. Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. This guy is still running his business. What he does is he goes to the dollar store, buys a bunch of candy and snacks for super cheap. He then has a Google Doc where he uploads all of his inventory on there with the prices. He actually sent me a few screenshots. Here's his business rules. You can pause to read the rest. Business was booming for this guy. This picture's kind of blurry, but that's his menu. And here is the page where people place their orders. He's running an entire online candy shop. Kids place an order, they either pay online or bring exact cash to school, and they make the trade in the bathroom or a hallway somewhere. And so far, he's made around $300. Nice. The worst teachers of all time. This person's first grade teacher was named Mrs. Davis. One time, he had a messy desk. It was one of those desks where the top flips up and you can put all your stuff in there. The teacher saw how messy his desk was, so she walked over to him, picked up his desk, and dumped everything that was in there right on top of him. She then made him clean all of it up, while the rest of the class watched. That's a pretty intense thing to do to a first grader. Story number 2. This person's second grade teacher was named Mrs. Fowler. She used to throw chalk at the students, threatened to lock them in the cupboard, she would punish them for not writing in cursive, and she refused to let any student use the bathroom in her class, which resulted in tons of kids peeing themselves. She kind of reminds me of this character. And the last story. In 6th grade, this person had a math teacher who spent the entire year talking to a small group of students about Animal Crossing on the GameCube. Well, at the end of the year, every single person in that class got an F, except the 5 students that were in her Animal Crossing fan club. The people that failed had to go to summer school. People being absolute jerks. This impatient driver was in a rush and ended up rear-ending an ambulance, causing a traffic jam and forcing the ambulance to stop with the patient still inside. These 2 brothers were having a beautiful moment when they finished building a pyramid out of beer cans, but then someone in the stands decides to destroy it by throwing a ball at it. Come on. And lastly, this grandma who was so mad that she had to destroy the TV. Think she went a little too far. That's messed up. Crazy things kids did in school. The lady that told this story said years ago when she was about 13 years old, there was a classmate of hers who every day at recess pretended to be a horse. She would gallop around the playground by herself like she was frickin' Seabiscuit. Obviously, everyone thought that she was way too old to be doing this, and all the other kids in her class thought it was strange. What is Stacy doing? Oh my god, is she eating grass? The lady that shared this story said that 10 years later, she ran into this horse girl at a hospital. Apparently, she went to medical school and was training to be a surgeon. Oh my god, Stacy? Claire, hi, oh my, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Looks like you're doing pretty well. I am. I'm very blessed. I do have one question to ask. Are you still a big fan of horses? I am, yeah. I actually have one of my own. His name is Shelf. That's a big W for horse girl. Worst houses of all time. Why does this one have so many windows? Whoever designed this went a little too far because that's definitely unnecessary. I don't even know what this house is supposed to be, but I bet the owner is definitely a psychopath. This bathtub in the kitchen with chairs around it seems a little sus. This garage that was built to look like a castle. Honestly, this one's pretty sick. This super tiny bedroom. They must have given this room to their least favorite child. It's basically a prison cell. Before we get to the last one, I found an app that lets you go live even if you have 0 followers. Get it right here if you want to go live too. And this kitchen looks like something that would be in a dollhouse. This is too much. The most pointless phone app of all time. In 2008, a man named Armin Heinrich released this app on the App Store. It was available for one day before it was taken down. The app is called I Am Rich, and people were able to buy it for $999.99. But this app had no real value. It was described as a work of art with no hidden function at all, and its only purpose was being able to show people that you were able to afford it. And this is what the app did. When you opened it, this red jewel would pop on the screen, and that would be it. But if you pressed the little info button on the bottom right, this mantra would pop up that said, I am rich, I deserve it, I am good, healthy, and successful. The entire time this was on the App Store, only 8 people bought it, which made Armin $5,600. Honestly, that's not bad money for such a stupid app. If you had the money, would you have gotten this? Interesting pictures that'll kind of blow your mind. Somebody captured this photo of the actual end of a rainbow, and turns out there wasn't a pot of gold. This is the face piece of the Statue of Liberty before it was put on the statue. And this by itself makes her look super grumpy. This giant lobster claw that was sold at Costco. It was sold for $70. I mean, that makes sense. This thing is huge. After Russians found out that McDonald's were leaving Russia for good, people started buying and stocking McDonald's food items in their fridge. This library that lets people rent out cake pans. I've never seen this before in my life. The subway sign, but the way is red. I thought it was a GameStop at first. And last but not least, this hospital receipt for somebody that had a baby in 1940. The total? $57.50. That's insane. Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. At this kid's school, there was a really mean bully that told everybody in his class that he would spread terrible rumors about them. And the only way he wouldn't do that is if they would pay him. So if kids didn't want this guy to spread awful rumors about them, they would have to pay him $5. And in return, the bully wouldn't target them. It's a pretty crazy business, and it lasted a few months, and the bully made about $200 before the school found out and he got in trouble. This company turns your pets into diamonds. Losing a pet is always very hard. Most people get their pets cremated, put in a nice box, and displayed somewhere in their house. Well, this company called Heart in Diamonds takes it to a whole different level. You give them the cremated ashes of your pet. They take it to their lab, and in 70 to 120 days, those ashes turn into diamonds. They do this by using the same conditions of extreme heat and pressure in which natural diamonds are made. It's actually really cool. You can even pick what color you want the diamond to be. My only thing is, diamonds these small are super easy to lose. I would hate to lose my dead pet. What do you guys think? Would you do this? Craziest ways people got rich. Dong Nguyen is an app developer, and he had a couple games on the App Store. Well, in May of 2013, he uploaded a new game to the App Store, Flappy Bird. I'm sure you've all played this game before. He uploaded Flappy Bird to the App Store, and for a few months, it didn't get a lot of attention at all. Till one day, Dong Nguyen saw a tweet, and all the tweet said was, Flappy Bird. And just like that, word of the game spread. It started getting more and more downloads, and more people were leaving reviews and tweeting stuff about how hard and addicting the game is. By the end of December that year, it was number 80 on the App Store. And then in January, it was number 1. He was making $50,000 a day from the ads that popped up in the game. But then he started getting incredibly depressed. He was constantly getting calls for interviews. People were tweeting at him because the game was too hard. Some people even mailed him death threats. Eventually, he got to his breaking point, and he took the game off the App Store. He must have made bank because $50,000 a day is insane. Worst things people did as kids. One day after middle school, he had gotten home, and there was a couple hours before his parents came home, so he wanted to make himself a snack and watch TV. He boiled some water, threw some hot dogs in there, and sat on the couch. That's when he got a phone call from his friend. His friend asked him if he wanted to come over for a little bit. He said sure, so he left. But he forgot about the hot dogs on the stove. When he got back home, he realized he forgot about the hot dogs, so he turned the stove off. But then he noticed that his mom's beloved parakeet she had for years, which was in the kitchen, was lying dead. Turns out the Teflon from the pan releases a poisonous gas that's lethal to birds. He killed his mom's bird. When his mom came home, she saw the dead bird, immediately started sobbing and went up to her room. She didn't come out for 3 days. People who were legends in their high school. This one school was near both a grocery store and a Petco. One day, a student bought sugar and a loaf of bread and 100 crickets. This kid soaked the bread in sugar water, tossed it into the drop ceiling, and let the crickets out in the ceiling as well. These crickets were breeding like crazy, and the chirping was constant. There were thousands of them. He was never caught, but the students at the school said the chirping and the buzzing was the loudest and strangest noise they had ever heard. That's crazy. This elephant wanted revenge, and she got it. Last month, this woman in India was walking to get some water when she saw a herd of elephants. She got spooked, so she ran away in the opposite direction. Well, one of the elephants chased her and trampled her to death. Then a few days later, at this lady's funeral, the herd returns, and that same elephant walks up to her body, picks her up, and throws her into the air. Here's a clip from that incident. After that, the herd of elephants still weren't satisfied, so they went to the nearby village and destroyed a few houses. People are asking, why did this happen? But there is one theory that makes a lot of sense to me. A source said that this lady was a part of a poaching group, and the day that she passed away, she had been throwing rocks at this elephant to distract it so the poachers can steal her baby. And maybe that elephant held a grudge and came back for her body. Who knows? Regardless, this is crazy. Worst things the popular kid did in school. This person told an anonymous story of something that happened at their high school. The teacher of one of their classes had a severe peanut allergy, and one day, this really popular dude thought it would be funny to spread peanut butter underneath the doorknob of the classroom, so the teacher wouldn't notice it until after she touched the peanut butter. This kid thought it was hilarious. Well, the teacher touched the peanut butter and was starting to have a severe allergic reaction. She went to the emergency room, and the crazy part is the kid that did this was only suspended for a day or two because his parents were very rich and they donated a lot of money to the school. Weird things kids did in school. This one teacher shared her story. She teaches 4th grade, and one day she was having all of her students clean out their desks. While the kids were cleaning, she noticed one of them having a tough time and acting kind of suspicious. So she went over there, and it turns out this kid had been collecting snails from outside, putting them in his desk and trying to breed them. I guess he'd been doing this for a few weeks. The snails ate through all of his workbooks, papers, and were trying to escape to other kids' desks. She said it was a nightmare. Black markets kids ran in their schools. A follower submission. When he was a freshman in high school, he noticed you could buy one 6-pack of Kool-Aid Bursts for just $1 at Walmart. So he had an idea. He was gonna buy a bunch of 6-packs, freeze them overnight, and bring them to school. He would then sell them for $1 a bottle. So he would buy one 6-pack for $1, sell all 6, and make $5 profit. Business was booming. Before long, he was bringing in 36 6-packs of Kool-Aid Bursts every day, and he was selling out. During his freshman year, he made about $5,000. Until one day during lunch, he was doing his business. It was busy. Everyone was thirsty and they wanted Kool-Aid. Well, he ran out and went back to the football locker room to pick up more. Somebody followed him, and they found out exactly what he was doing. When they got back to the lunchroom, he was busted. They had all of his inventory and money stacked on a table like it was a scene from Narcos. He was then escorted by school staff to the principal's office. As he was walking out, however, students booed and screamed and caused a riot because they wanted their freaking Kool-Aid, and he didn't do anything wrong. He was then suspended. To this day, people call him Juice. He is now an entrepreneur and owns a few small businesses. Black markets kids ran in their schools. This is a quick one, but it makes me very mad. When this kid was in 6th grade, there was a teacher that started selling candy to students in between classes. How nice, right? Well, one kid thought that the teacher's prices for candy were way too high, so he had an idea. He went out and bought the same type of candy the teacher was selling. He bagged it up and brought it to school, where he sold it to students for way less than the teacher was charging for her candy. And as you guessed it, business was frickin' booming, and people loved him for it. Eventually, the candy-selling teacher got mad. She went to the school principal, and they put an end to all candy sales. What a salty woman. So she can sell, but he can't? Shame.
বন্ধু তুই যদি রক্ত দেস ভালো লাগে না রে দোস্ত
না দুলা ভাই আমি তো কোচিং এ যাই না আমার তো বাসায় গেস্ট আসছে আর আমার আম্মু তো একা এজন্য আমি যাই না আমার পড়াশোনা সবকিছু বন্ধ করে দিবে তখন আমি কি করব
আরে ছাইরা দে ভালোবাসা যে এত প্যারা এত কষ্ট এত জ্বালা যন্ত্রণা জানলে ভালোই বাসতাম জিসান আর তুলির ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস তাই রক্ত লাগবে
আসসালামু আলাইকুম দুলা ভাই
আরে শালা ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম কি খবর কেমন আছো বান্ধবীও তো যায় না এতবার ফোন দিলাম ফোনও ধরতেছে না তুমি একটা ফোন দাও তো ফোন বের করো
কি বলেন দুলা ভাই ও যায় নাই কথা হইছে ভাইয়া বলছে যে ভাইয়া আমাদের কোচিং এর সামনে আর আসবে না আর তোকে ডিস্টার্বও করবে না
জানো না কারণ না আমি 1/3 গুনমু না বাবা প্রেম হইলেই হবে প্রেম হইলে এমনি ডিসটেন্স হবে বাবা আমার খালি ওরে দরকার রক্ত কেন ইতিহাস লিখবো ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস
ভালো আছি আপনি ভালো আছেন
আমি তো ভালো আছি তো তোমার বোন কোথায়
আচ্ছা একটা মিনিট আমি কল দিচ্ছি
এক রাতে ভালো হয়ে গেল এটাও আমার বিশ্বাস করতে হবে দোস্ত
দোস্ত, আমার না ভয় লাগছে।
আসতে বলবো না, সেটা আমার একটু জরুরি কথা আছে।
বাবা,
ভাই আমি তো এলাকা ছাড়ার আগে
তুমি একটা বিরাট টুকরা ছেলে, যেই ছেলে
তানিয়া আমার পিস্তলটা নিয়ে আয় তো।
কাকা দুধটা কাকাকে দুধটা রাইখে গেলাম।
মাত্র সে ফেসবুকে স্ট্যাটাস দিয়েছে সে একটি অনাথ বাচ্চাকে
কত স্যাক্রিফাইস করছি, এলাকার বড় ভাই থেকে রিক্সা চালক হয়ে গেলাম, আর সেইটাই করবো। যে গরম না, আর এই বড় ভাই তোর মায়ের চিকিৎসার দায়িত্ব নিছে। সেলিম ভাই ভালোবাসার লেগে জেল খাটছিল।
ভাই আপনি যত কথাই, এই বাড়িতে ওই বদমাইশটার কথা একবারও ভুলে উচ্চারণ করবা না।
ভাই মিনিমাম আপনি 17 লাইনের একটা কবিতা লেখেন, 17 লাইনের কবিতা
কিন্তু ছাপাই না, সব মাথার ভিতরে থাকে। যখন পড়তে ইচ্ছা করে মাথা, আমি জানো ওরে বাপ করে দেব। আর আমি কি কমো জানো, তবু তানিয়া ভালো কেমনে বেটা কস না কেন ক বেটা,
এটা পড়ে আপনার প্রেমে পুরো উত্তরে পড়ে যাবো।
আর তো
আপনি পারবেন ভাই, আপনি পারবেন।
ও 700 লাইন লিখবো, আর বাদ বাকি 300 লাইন আমি লেখা বললাম।
একটু নামিয়ে দাও, মানে ও ছাড়া পাক না পাক তাতে আমাদের কি?
এলাকার কি অবস্থা রে?
এই তো ভাই ভালো সব কিছু।
ভাই স্কুলগুলো আমরা অনেকক্ষণ ধরে আপনার লেখা রয়েছে, ঝুলি কিন্তু চিন্তা করে লেগেছে ভাই।
হ ভাই, আমিও সেইটাই কই। মানে ওর মাইয়া তানিয়া নিজের কি মনে করে কিচ্ছু বুঝি না, ওকে আমার থেকে দেখতে বেশি সুন্দর।
আবার আসবো স্যার, আগে আপনার বাসায় আসতে গেলে পা কাঁপতো, এখন আর পা কাঁপ না। কবিতা লিখতে হইব, কয় লাইন লেখছস দে, নাহলে কিন্তু আমি তোকে পিটা মুতে।
লাগবে হইব না ভাই, এটা স্যার আপনি যেটা করবেন এটা করবো। কনফার্ম খারাপই করে কিন্তু কবিতা লিখতে পারবো না।
কোনো মাপ নাই।
এটা পড়ে আপনার প্রেমে পুরো উত্তরে পড়ে যাবো।
আর তো
আপনি পারবেন ভাই, আপনি পারবেন।
এত কিছু ফালানোর সিস্টেম জানোস, আর প্রেমে ফালানোর সিস্টেম জানোস না, কথা তো একেবারে ফালায় দেওয়ার মতো না। আগে যদি তোরা গুলিও করস, আগে সালামটা তুই আনো।
আপনার ছেলেকে আমার এত পছন্দ হয়েছে যে আমি তো বিয়েতে রাজি হয়ে গেছি।
জীবনটারে আজকে 50% সাকসেস মনে হইতেছে।
সেলিমের মতো এরকম মহল্লার একটা বড় ভাই যদি থাকতো, তাহলে আজকে তোর নিশ্চয়ই বদমাইশটার কথা।
শোনো একটা কথা
ভাই বলবো না, এত
করি না ভাই,